It's time for Be More Good News and time to celebrate all our unique holiday happenings in our charming city. Also, all the good news we've brought to you in 2025, we're going to talk about it again and we're going to find out all the good news that happened in 2025 here at Be More Good News.
Shores of the Patapsco lies a singing and swinging this town I know. So have another beer, sit down, I'll tell you more. Folks work real hard, but they're doing it right. Cause when the sun goes down, they're gonna party all night. I'm talking about Baltimore.
It's Be More Good News for Holidays 2025, and I'm your host, Judy Templeton. Thank you so much for joining us. Each month, our Good News reporters share with you some of the stories, events, programs, and people that make Baltimore so special. Please make sure you like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of the latest good news. So we've got a lot of good news to get to this month, and there's so much to love about Baltimore. Let's bring in our team of good news reporters, our good newsies, and find out what sets their hearts aflutter at the holidays here and Be More. Yay! Hey, Chris. Hey, Bonnie. Hey, Desmond.
Hi, Judy.
So, what do you love about the holidays here in Baltimore?
What's not to love? I mean, where do we begin?
For real.
Oh, I know where to begin. I found out where there are 10,000 bulbs in Mount Vernon, and I'm not talking about daffodils.
Wait a minute. Let me see. This is like, I like this. This is like a logic puzzle, like a thought puzzle. Where would there be 10,000 bulbs? I have a guess. Does it have anything to do with Mount Vernon? You said Mount Vernon, right?
Yes, and they're dangling.
Does it have anything to do with the first president of the United States?
It has to do with him being in the area.
Okay. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
Well, we're going to see George Washington get lit.
It wouldn't be the first time nor the last time. Our founding fathers are constantly lit, so that makes perfect sense.
So that's a great segue for our annual holiday monument lighting at Mount Vernon on December 4th. Awesome. Miss Bonnie and I will be there as greeters and meters, giving out candy canes, celebrating wildly. We know that we'll see Desmond somewhere in the crowd taking his normal 1,000 pictures per event. Exactly. And Chris, usually we run into you and your lovely wife. Will you be there this year?
I hope so. We've got a lot of holiday events happening, particularly in the early part of December. But one thing I do want to point out, that afternoon, we are going to be running a walking tour of Mount Vernon, leading up to the lighting of the monument. So on December the 4th, you can meet the group at the Mount Vernon Place United Methodist Church, which is a space that's going to be activated for the monument lighting. Get a look inside that beautiful historic church, and then a walk around the neighborhood to learn about some of that gorgeous architecture, some of the people who lived in that neighborhood, and why that neighborhood is such a special place today. So we're partnering with the Ivy Bookshop and Bird in Hand Bookshop to put that walking tour together, and you can find out more at our website, rentatour.com. So that's something that we hope will become a regular event in Mount Vernon year-round. We figured there was no better time to kick it off than on December 4th, leading up to the lighting of the Washington Monument.
Oh, I am excited to hear about that. So what are you looking forward to, Desmond?
So I'm looking forward to a variety of things. There is a variety of art markets and kind of gallery shows that are happening throughout the city. Too many to name in this space, honestly. But I'm a big fan of the monument lighting itself, right? It's a good time. Everyone's kind of gathered together. It's no matter what the temperature is outside, it's always warm, right? Not only with people's hearts kind of opening to the goodness and the kindness that exists in this part of the holiday season, right? But like the music that takes place there, right? Hearing the Morgan Choir just like belting out tunes left and right. Like I'm sitting here talking about it, getting chills right now. It's ridiculous, right? Big fan of that. I'm a big fan of some of the exhibitions that are happening in some of our free art museums right now too, like at the Walters and at the BMA. There are two very powerful exhibits, one on Egyptian animal mummies, right, that I strongly recommend. It's fantastic and full of history and full of life for a bunch of dead things wrapped in linen. But hey, what else? In the Amy Sherrill show happening at the BMA that we got after the controversy with the Smithsonian and the NGA before, right? So having that in our local town here is fantastic, right? She has a Baltimore connection and she shows it through and through in her works. I've visited it once so far, and it was wild being in communion and community with the folks who are having like the same kind of like powerful, overwhelming experience that I was, right? Witnessing all these amazing portraits and what they mean to us, as well as what the artist is trying to say through them too. So strong recommend on that. And that both those things run through December and into early
Desmond, it makes me feel so proud
Mhm.
to have that exhibition here in Baltimore,
Truth.
given the way things are in the world right now and what's happening in Washington, D.C., the fact that our city would be the one to open up the doors to our museum and open up our arms to such a talented artist just really fills me with so much pride.
Right on. And that's pride is the right thing there, right? Absolutely. Right. Because I mean,
Yay. And that's
bringing that up.
shows up.
And that's just tip of the iceberg for the holiday season too, you know? Well, I
have another plug, Judy, before real quick. I'm sorry. I know there's so much to talk about and so much to get to, but we are also restarting one of Baltimore's favorite holiday traditions, the Holly Jolly Trolley, which is going to be operating all month long in December, departing from the Royal Sonesta Hotel right across the street from the German Christmas Village, which is also going to be open all holiday season long. And you have the chance to hop aboard this vintage trolley, cruise through the city, see all of the beautiful light displays around the waterfront, Harbor East, Harbor Point, Fells Point, Little Italy. We go up through Mount Vernon. We're going to see George all lit up. And then we're going to get off of the trolley in Hamden and work our way down 34th Street. So you'll get to see those famous 34th Street lights up close and personal. So again, www.rentatour.com. Check out all of the dates for the Holly Jolly Trolley Tour. It is a ton of fun. And we also try to point out all of the other holiday events that are happening in Baltimore. So we like to think of our tour as sort of a repository for all the other cool holiday stuff. We show it to you on the trolley and then encourage you to come back down and revisit all of these great sites. So there's too much to even mention that's happening all around Baltimore all season long.
For sure. And do it multiple times, because seeing it is not enough.
That's right. You're always going to see something new every time you go.
Talking about that, we were just thinking that we were hoping that you were going to do it, so you just made our dreams come true.
Fantastic.
So, all right. Well, I know Miss Bonnie's got plenty more to tell us, but I don't want to go away without remembering fondly all the fabulous guests we have had reporting all of their good news this year. And so some of the names that we've had on here are Ellen Owens from the AVAM, and she is the new director there. Stephen Zhu and Wendy Walker in Mount Vernon. Wendy Walker being the new director at Spotlighters, and Stephen Zhu, the head and the programmer of the Mount Vernon Conservancy. We had the Free Mom Hugs. I'm probably going to let Miss Bonnie talk to them because she knows them very well. We had Beer and Ballet. We had Aziza Peace with that just blow us away every time. We had the Kindness and Infinite Love Project. And of course, that's good people doing good deeds. And we had love stories of Baltimore weddings. We had our very own Young and Melissa, all about their Baltimore wedding in the Baltimore Zoo. And then we had Valeria and Ryan, who had a big Baltimore wedding, and Miss Bonnie and I are particularly fond of being in the Natty Bow car. So that's a lot of good news that we covered. So so let's talk about some of that. So Miss Bonnie, why don't you tell us a little bit about Free Mom Hugs, because I know that you've been connected with them for a while.
Well, I met them a long time ago. I think it was one of the Pride parades, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And they were just standing around with these T-shirts on that said, Free Mom Hugs. And then I walked down and I saw Free Pastor Hugs, Free Dad Hugs. And I said, what is this all about? I want a hug. I'm not a pastor. I am a mom. I'm not a dad, but can I have a hug too? And they said, well, sure, you can have a hug, but mostly these hugs are geared towards the people who had a real problem with their gender identity and no support from their family. And when they tried to figure out who they were kind of rejected from the people who were supposed to love them and encourage them to be who they really wanted to be. So, hey, I'm a mom. I love you. Come here. Let me hug you. You can be whoever you want to be. I'm a dad. I'm a pastor, because some of these kids got ostracized at their churches. And I just didn't understand that at all, because God don't make no mistakes, you know?
Yep. Well,
And I just talked to them, and they were just so loving and hugging all the time. And who doesn't like a hug? You got to keep it for 30 seconds, though, so you feel all the good vibes. You know that, right?
For sure.
I do now. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we can see the free mom hugs at the Mount Vernon lighting, and they will also be at the mayor's parade. So they'll be coming back. So I know you have a special fondness, Desmond, for Eric and Tina of the Infinite Love Project and the Kindness Project. So talk to us a little about them.
No worries. So I had met them, I believe, before knowing y'all at some event I was at. I mean, I live a pretty wandering life. I get up to all kinds of nonsense, right? And I quite enjoyed what they were doing. I didn't realize until I'd met them where all those be kind signs that I'd see in my various wanderings and traveling came from. It's like, okay, they're the source. That is amazing, right? Everything they try to do with like stitching together people of all different backgrounds, all different sorts, right? And getting people involved in actually making those signs on the regular too is so cool, right? And being able to be in the Baltimore Mayor's Christmas parade, right? Where they're handing them out to folks, right? They're asking the crowds like, hey, are any of you teachers? We have one that are special for teachers. Any of you all first responders? We have ones that are special for you, right? That is so good, right? One of the things I also like is, as a person who gives out a lot of tchotchkes and tokens and just, I don't know, artifacts to people. Like I pass out tiaras to folks all the time, right? I give out my various tentacles to various people and stuff. They give out little hearts with full of infinite love, like little wooden hearts, right?
I found one in my pocket the other day. It was just so fun.
Exactly, right? You know, it's like the best kind of pocket change and pocket litter you can possibly have, right? There we go. Like we all are in here. Let's see if my camera will pick this one up. There we
Got
go.
it.
Yeah, just infinite love all up on this podcast. I'm digging that, right? This is just a little piece of love, affection, care, right? Something to remind you to, not only take care of yourself, but look out for others, right? And make sure that you remember that basic phrase of all we got is us, and we've got to make sure we act like it, right? And they're out there living that every day and making sure that all the rest of us can be engaged in doing that same thing, and that freaking rocks. So.
And you know what? We know also, like you said, they're going to be at the parade. So, they will be giving more hearts out.
Yeah,
Well,
it's so cool. It's just groups like that, people like that, just make the world such a better place. The free mom hugs, you feel the warmth, and I so many times you're having a bad day, you're driving down the road and you look up and you see one of those be kind signs.
Yes.
And it always seems like you see it exactly at the moment when you needed to see it. Or Judy, like you said, you reach into your pocket and you feel that little wooden heart. You don't even, it's not that you need a reminder, but all of us every once in a while can get into a headspace where we're not feeling the warm fuzzies. I know this is a good news show and we need those little nudges sometimes. And to know there are people right here in Baltimore that are putting that light out into the world on a regular basis every single day is such a good feeling.
For sure. And both those groups are so grassroots with it too, right? This is not something that's coming down from some big, huge organization. It's like, hey, thou shalt do this thing. Here's a plan. It's like rising up. I get free mom hugs by the free mom hug folks at like the various Pride events I go to. I was at the Howard County Pride in October, and they were there. And
they sure were.
Oh yes, they're in force, right? As you saw too, right? And like. I could not walk by them. Like one, they wouldn't let me walk by without getting a kind of stuff too, right? I didn't have to ask. They were right there with arms open, just being mad welcoming. So it's good to go.
Exactly. And so even to the point of that, yes, we all need that reminder. Some of the other guests that I talk about give it in different ways. I mean, let's talk about Stephen Zhu with the Mount Vernon Conservancy. He continues to send beautiful messages to Bonnie and I all year. He starts complimenting us about Flower Mart at holiday time and complimenting us about holidays at Flower Mart time. He's just a wonderful, loving, giving person. Wendy Walker, who is the new director, is just over the moon happy about being here in Baltimore and has really celebrated and it is continuing Spotlighters. And Spotlighters is a group that's been around a long time. So without her, maybe it wouldn't have continued. And beer and ballet. I mean, that is, that may not sound right away, but that's a little heart in your pocket too, because that is people in community dancing and having a little beer, but it's more than that because they all get together and, it's a community event too. So I love to shout out these stories because you're right, Chris. They really do just remind us of what we really have here in our treasured, charming city. And so, Chris, I'll ask you to make one comment because I happen to know that you were at the Melissa and Young affair. What you thought about the wedding at the zoo?
I thought that was such a wonderful day. You did a fantastic job, Judy, as the officiant and signing that marriage certificate to make it official. It's such a cool thing when people love the city enough to make it a central part of one of the most important days of their lives when they get married. And to see Melissa and Young and our other guests that they were on the cover of the Baltimore Magazine wedding edition with their Natty Bow car. It just shows how much this city gets inside of you. It gets under your skin in the best possible way. And I think I mentioned this during that episode. My wife, Jen, and I got married at the Hilton overlooking the ballpark because we met at an Orioles game and we wanted to make sure that was a part of our love story. And so seeing people who care so much about the city and they want to make it a central player in that special day is just so cool. And again, it also speaks to just how special a city this is.
Absolutely.
That was a fantastic day between the zoo and the flamingos, and the band was great, and the Oriole bird was there. I mean, from start to finish, it was unforgettable.
And the live penguins there too was fantastic as well.
Yep. And so to your point that Ryan and Valeria's wedding, it was in a restaurant in Towson, but they had Elvis marry them, and Bonnie and I were there to be Huns and do Baltimore trivia, and it was just wonderful. And I will forever be connected to those couples because we got to celebrate their love. And shout out to Ryan and Valerian because they had a new little addition, Presley, who Miss Bonnie and I got to meet this summer, which was just wonderful. So
and one other thing real quick, you know what else was cool? I don't know about Ryan and Valeria's wedding, but I know that Melissa and Young had guests from all over the country that came to their wedding. And this was an opportunity for many of them probably to experience Baltimore for the very first time. Maybe they've never been here before. So what a great way to be introduced to a city on such a fun, exciting, and love-filled day. That's just another great way for us to put our best foot forward.
Absolutely. So I guess that this is a perfect segue to then give a shout out to all of the guests that we had from the new AVAM, American Visionary Art Museum. And again, we're very thrilled to have our new director, Ellen Owens, and the curator, Gage. He's just a special guy. And Connor and Nicole, they all came on to talk about all the excitement. And we just celebrated 30 years of AVAM on Saturday. Actually, Desmond and I were there. And thank you, Bonnie. You always have the perfect timing for your props. There is the queen, the goddess, Rebecca Hofberger, the founder, who I just adore her. And the things that she's done there are just unbelievable. They really are. And I even got a quick moment with her. She was actually there on Saturday and I got to give her a hug. So I was over the moon excited about that. And to segue again to Fifi. Fifi makes her grand appearance at the Mayor's Parade this year. That is no small feat, and we're going to talk about that just a little later. So, shout out to all our guests from this year. Thank you, everyone. Keep creating all that good news, and may I forever reach in my pocket and find a heart.
And well said, well said. And I would just like to remind all of our viewers that if you missed any of those episodes that we've been talking about today, they are on our Facebook page, they're on our website. So click around and find some of those episodes so you can learn more about the people we've been talking about here today.
Absolutely. Well, now you're tuned in to Be More Good News. And don't forget to like and subscribe us. And for all the latest good news, don't forget to visit our website at bemoregoodnews.com. That's what Chris has been telling you, so you can hear more about all these guests. So now it's time to hear from Miss Bonnie and why this is the most wonderful time of the year here in Baltimore. So Miss Bonnie, tell us what's happening.
Okay, well, here we go with Thursday, December 4th. We already touched on George Washington and his famous light bulbs. Okay, they're going to be hanging from the beloved Washington Monument in Mount Vernon. It's sponsored by the Mount Vernon Place Conservancy, and they're going to have lots of restaurants. They're going to have little stands out front. And I'm pretty sure you can find Chris in one of the beer lines. And Judy and I are going to be giving out little candy canes to everyone who wants one, and maybe a hug too. Mm-hmm. And then I need to let you know that they're going to have food and fireworks, but not much parking. So it's really good if you do a ride share, and then you won't have to worry about where to find your car. Okay, Friday, December 5th, Hot in Here dance party at the Auto Bar. Now, you have to put on your lowest low-rise jeans and bedazzle everything you're going to wear that night, and enjoy a night of music by Rihanna, Eminem, and Britney for a post-Y2K icon party. Now step into the sublime at the BMA, Amy Sherald After Hours. Ooh. Now you already heard about our art hero, Amy. She's famous all over the world for her painting, her portrait of Michelle Obama. Now she has her very own exhibit. It was supposed to be at the Smithsonian, but there was a lot of controversy about her gorgeous Statue of Liberty that was a trans person. And they did not want to exhibit without a video and an explanation. And she said, hell no, we won't go. We're going to go to Baltimore. So you can see it all at Baltimore, and you can see that exact painting in its glory.
Don't forget about the sailor too, because that was the other one was controversy. The sailor.
Oh yeah, the two sailors.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I had to interject that.
Okay, it's a good interjection.
The kiss, as it's called. So anyway.
Okay. Well, that's also very important. But that was the one that, that stirred the pot, and the Smithsonian said they just couldn't handle it. So Baltimore is a very brave city, and we're full of very open-minded people. And we're working on it every day to get more open-minded. Now, Friday, December 5th is the, it's called the Amy Sherald After Hours Party. It's 8 to 11. It's $35. Live music, art making, and all the galleries will be open for you to enjoy. And if you don't go to that, I need to remind you that every Sunday is a family Sunday. It's free from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And it's geared for the children that are ages 6 to 9. They must be accompanied by an adult, of course. December 6th, Saturday, Silburn Arboretum is having their holiday fundraiser, and that's from 9 to 12. You can shop handcrafted wreaths, and they're gorgeous wreaths. They're really beautiful. Themed gifts, poinsettias. Is that how you say that? Poinsettias. And you see beautiful winter vase displays. Is that right? Vase, depends on how expensive they are, I guess. Okay. Saturday, December 6th, Santa arrives in Baltimore on a tugboat. Toot, toot, Santa's here, okay? He's going to come to Broadway Square, and he's going to be followed by a lighted boat parade. And it's all in Fells Point. You can get a photo op with Santa and a cup of hot cocoa. And it's sponsored by the Waterfront Partnership. I think they're the people that do the trash wheel. Okay. And the Holiday Heap on December 13th. the Charm City Craft Mafia. They're not very scary. They're just called the Craft Mafia. And it's called Holiday Gifts, 40 local makers. They call them makers. And that's at 2640 Space. That's 2640 St. Paul Street from 10 to 4. Now, Sunday, December 14th, the 40th annual international, all over the world, Tuba Christmas. Ours is going to be at the Science Center. I don't know how many tubas they have, but it's going to be a lot. That's from 3:30 to 6:30 at the Science Center. December 7th, a little parade in Hamden. I think we're going to talk about that a little more. We're going to have massive floats, local personalities, and I think Judy and I are going to be two of the local personalities. Okay, so you don't want to miss that. And of course, Santa's going to wrap it up. That's it.
That's it. Well, that's plenty. That should fill your calendars. Oh my goodness. I guess it's time now for some motivational words from our very own good news reporter, Desmond. How many holiday events will you be attending this season, Desmond?
Probably like 1,000, I think, to be honest. But we'll see.
Okay, that's about what I thought you'd say.
Right on. I will at least be at one more that I think was hidden inside of some of the ones Bonnie said too. Was there's the holiday poinsettia show and poinsettia show, and just the holiday theme show that happens at the Rollins Conservatory, right? That's always glorious, right? All different kinds of different species and cultivars of poinsettias, right? They do like different themed decorations and stuff too, and every year is different. It's always a wonderful time for pictures and for connecting with plants and getting connected with a bunch of nerds that hang out amongst those plants too. And the train garden is awesome too. But anyway, let me start my little bit. So thanks, Judy, and greetings, all my fellow royal jellies. Good humans of the internet, you're all sugar plum fairies with wings formed of sugary gossamer and glorious magic. Be that spread of autumnal and wintry joy for yourself and others, and coalesce and combine with your brethren and bring communal bursts of goodness wherever you go. So that's me, a little drop of wisdom. I want to use a little bit of this time to talk about like some annual traditions in and around the city that are kind of precious to me and my family and my friends and my found family too. So mention the Rollins, right? That's one of my many hangouts in Baltimore. But specifically around this time, not only at the Rollins, but in some train stations in Baltimore and a bunch of firehouses in and around the city, there are holiday train gardens, right? These things are huge efforts of love that people put together and to bring like bit of interest and a whole bunch of joy to kids and rail fans and parents and anyone else who likes to see miniature things going around a track, right? And finding like little hidden bits of puzzles and little hidden bits of delight all throughout them, right? These train gardens have been going on for decades for some of these places, right? It's been wild seeing some of the folks that I've met at these train gardens who have watched my kids grow up, right? And my kids still go to them either with me or on their own, since they're basically grown-ups now. And it's awesome to see this tradition kind of continue, right? And how integrated they are with their communities, as well as for people coming around who don't know anything about model trains, right? Who just love seeing these things operate and seeing what's different every year, right? Or even some of the ones that are the same, right? You get to see those traditions kind of pop up and exist, right? It's pretty dang great. Also wanted to talk about the one specific tradition that's kind of, I don't know, unique-ish to my family. There is a animated series called Over the Garden Wall that we tend to watch every year around Thanksgiving, sometimes around Halloween, and at Christmas too, when we would get a chance. It's a fantastic little short animated series of like short episodes that all kind of focus on the message of like finding your own way, getting help from others as well as helping others, and finding your light to shine it through dark times, right? And beating back darkness when all hope is lost. And that's a thing that I think is a good reminder during the holidays and a good reminder all year long, right? We tend to watch it because it's crazy good. The music's amazing, right? The animation's super good. But that message is something that kind of sticks with us, right? Kind of like Chris was saying, how Baltimore gets under your skin. Something like Over the Garden Wall also gets under our skin and like kind of buries its tendrils into our hearts and our souls, and then holds us for the year. And it's a good reminder to keep doing the lessons that cartoon teaches us, and keep moving forward. So that's all I got.
Wow, that's plenty of inspiration, Desmond. Thank you so much. Oh,
Cheers.
that is just beautiful. All right, well, since Desmond has now warmed our hearts all up, let's keep them there, and let's hear a heartwarming story about the holidays from our very own storyteller, Chris Reel.
Well, thank you very much, Judy. And for this, I am going to put on my antlers to get into the holiday spirit. You know, we've been talking a lot about parades, right? The Hamden Parade, the Mayor's Parade is coming up, and that parade has been happening in Hamden Medfield since 1973. But did you know, Judy, that there was another parade happening in Baltimore even earlier than that?
I think I did, because I think I went when I was a little girl, but
you might remember. Yep, it was called the Toy Town Parade. The
Yes,
Baltimore
I do.
Toy Town Parade. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, and you're making me have cold chills all over. I love it.
Well, I was reading about this parade, and it was really, really something. You know, for a lot of families, the holiday season officially begins when Santa Claus closes out the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York. Well, you know, we had our own version of the Macy's parade here in Baltimore for many, many years. Down on Howard Street, that was the big retail district in the city. You had all of those big department stores, and one of them, Hochul Cone, decided they wanted to have a holiday season parade with floats and marching bands and, of course, balloons. The very first Toy Town Parade in Baltimore was in 1936. And the parade almost didn't happen because you can't have a big holiday parade without balloons, right? So our folks here in Baltimore were borrowing balloons from a parade that happened in Binghamton, New York, just a few days earlier. They loaded these deflated balloons onto vans and sent them down south. But one of those crazy late November snowstorms blew in, and the van drivers got lost. They couldn't find Howard Street. And it wasn't until 7:30 in the morning on the day of the parade that those vans finally showed up. And volunteers at the store actually used floor model vacuum cleaners to inflate those balloons as quick as they could. And even though it seemed dicey for a little while, they managed to get the parade off on time at 9:30. And that tradition continued in Baltimore for 30 years. Of course, the most popular participant in the parade was Santa Claus. And according to some of the volunteers that used to work at the parade, children would write letters complete with return addresses and stamps, and those letters would be collected by Santa's helpers along the parade route.
That's true. I contributed.
You remember that?
Yes,
and
I do.
Every one of those letters, if there was a name and a return address, every one of those letters was answered by Santa Claus himself. Now, by the 1960s, a lot of those parade floats and balloons were starting to show their age, and with a lot of people moving out to the suburbs and the malls really sort of taking over where that retail district on Howard Street once was so popular, the parade was discontinued in 1967. But it's important to remember that for many, many years, Baltimore had a parade that rivaled the Macy's parade in New York. And then in 1973, less than a decade later, the Mayor's Christmas parade tradition was begun in Hamden. And so that tradition continues to this day. Doesn't matter where you are in the city, no matter who you're with, we always find a way to celebrate here in Baltimore.
Wow, great story. And thanks for bringing back that memory. And I absolutely remember my father putting me on his shoulders and running down the street for us to catch the little mailbox we had to put the letters in. So it was fabulous. Thank you, Chris. Well, it's no need to be a Grinch this holiday, not in our Good News City. It's been a blast here working with all our good news reporters. Chris Reel, our Baltimore Storyteller Supreme, Bonnie Hochstein, our comical calendar girl, Desmond, our guru of fun and photography, and Yang Tang, our pink mayor. He's missing tonight. He's so busy working on that mayor's parade. Be there or be square, December 14th. Fifi starts the entire gala and fun, and I will be up on the grandstand waving everybody on. So please make sure and join us. Who could ask for anything more? So make sure you like and subscribe us and be the first to know when our next episode is going to be released. So you too can have some good news. But until next time, happy holidays in Baltimore. I'm Judy Templeton signing off.
Happy holidays.
Cheers all.
Way down on the shores of the Patapsco lies a singing and swinging his town I know. So have another beer, sit down, I'll tell you more. Folks work real hard, but they're doing it right. Cause when the sun goes down, they're gonna party all night. I'm talking about Baltimore.